today's video, I'm going to be editing my followers' photos using my Lightroom presets, which you can shop at shetheSpy.com. I'm going to be switching over to a voiceover to guide you through the rest of the video, so I hope that you enjoy this one and let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. I'll be editing your photos using the Lightroom mobile app on my iPhone. I'm going to be using 3 different presets. 2 are new to my shop and 1 is an old favorite. So first I'll be editing with Alohomora, and this preset gives a vintage moody wash over your photos. It gives the shadows a muted rosy tint to them, and I really like the vibe of this preset. I'll also be editing with Hedwig. This preset has been in my shop for a long while and it is a favorite. I get loads of questions about it, so I wanted to show Hedwig in use. It gives your feed that clean white aesthetic. And the third preset is another new one called Charms. This is my current preset on my feed. I wanted to make a filter that was more true to color but still had a bit of moodiness, warmth, and wasn't too dark. I was inspired by light academia aesthetic and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So I'm in Lightroom now and we're going to edit our first photo. So I'm going to scroll over to the presets and I'm going to apply Alohomora on this image. I really like how this filter makes the image look, but one thing that Alohomora can do is that it can turn your shadows or your yellows a bit rosy, which can look really lovely, but if you did want to make it more true to color, this is how you would do it. So we're going to scroll back to color, and then we're going to go into mix, and you want to adjust the hue of your orange and yellows, so you just bring the slider into the middle. And then you have a more true to color look, and so now we've got an antique gold type of yellow rather than that rosy tone that we had before. And I think that's really all that we need to do to this image. I love how it is, so that one is done. So the next one, I'm going to apply Alohomora again. It really already looks amazing. I think the only thing I would change is that I would maybe adjust the exposure. So go over to light, and then we're going to turn the exposure down so it's not too bright. Okay, I think that's perfect. That's done. So easy. For these next 2 images, we're going to be editing with the Hedwig preset. So I've gone ahead and applied that, and straight away we get that white clean aesthetic. One of the only things that I would maybe change is the hue of her skin tone. It's showing a little bit of warmth. So to adjust skin tone, I go into color and then into mix, and then to the orange tone, I'll just turn down the saturation a little bit. I'll also turn down the luminance so that the skin doesn't look too washed out of color. Next, I'm going to go into the healing tool, and I'm just going to zoom in on her tights because there's a bit of lint specks showing, and this is a really quick and easy fix. You just tap on the spots that you want to remove and Lightroom will do its magic. And we're going to edit with Hedwig again with this next photo. So I've applied Hedwig, although Alohomora does look really nice as well, but let's do Hedwig. So one thing I'm noticing is that it's a little bit too washed out. So we're going to go into light and then turn down the exposure. And we're also going to turn down the whites, which is another way that you can darken your image just a little bit if it's looking too bright. And that's really all I'm gonna do. There's no other adjustments that I think this image needs. If you're looking for that clean white look on your feed, then this is perfect. We're going to be editing with the Charms preset for these next 2. So I'm going ahead and applying it onto this castle image, which it suits perfectly. There's also Charms outdoors and there might be Charms indoors too. The difference is that Charms outdoors has a bit more saturation with the greens and blues so that your sky doesn't get too washed out and your greenery comes back. In some photos it's way more noticeable. Maybe the only other thing that I would do is I might turn down the oranges. So I'm going to go into color mix and then just turn down the saturation of the orange a little bit. So let's edit again with the Charms preset. So I'm going to go to presets and apply Charms. Okay, so now we can really see the difference between Charms and Charms Outdoors. Like that sky comes right back. So we'll definitely go with Charms Outdoors. And then I'm going to turn down the exposure a tad. I love this preset for travel photos. I think it looks so nice. I also really love how the shadows come out, like her hair looks so good. So these next two images are going to be more trickier edits. So the first one I'm doing is by Jen from Dear Written, and she specifically asked me to make this less warm and less orangey, and this can sometimes happen depending on the light that you're shooting in. And often when our images look too yellow, look too orange, it's just a matter of turning down the temperature to make it a cooler image. So I'm going to apply the Charms preset to this one, and then I'm going to go into color and then turn down the temperature toward the blue, and this already makes such a huge difference. But I'm not done. I'm going to go into mix as well and go into the orange tone and turn that saturation down. A big difference already. It's way less warm than what it used to be, but we are losing a few of the key colors. So if I zoom in now on the rose, I can see some of the magenta and purple is lost. Also, if we look at the greenery, it's become really silver, which I kind of like. But if you want to bring back the green, just go into the green section and turn the saturation up, and you can see it return. But let's go into magenta and turn that saturation up as well as the purple, so we can get the color back of the roses. So looking at the image now, I probably want to fix up the vinyl because we have brought up all the shadows. The vinyl's looking a bit like washed out. It's really easy to fix this one. I'm going to go into the selective edits and then hit the plus up the top left, and we're going to use this paintbrush. You just use your finger to draw over the area that you wish to edit, and I'm just doing it really roughly. Now I'm going to go into light and I'm going to turn the shadow down. Another thing that you can do if you wish is you can add another selective edit by drawing over any of the little shadows you can see, and we can just slightly brighten these up by going into light. For our next complex type of edit, advanced type of edit, we are going to be doing this one on my desktop because I would like to edit some of it in Photoshop. So I'm going to apply the Hedwig preset to this photo, and there's really not much else I'm going to do in Lightroom. I think that looks great. I'm going to right click and edit in Photoshop. This will open the image into Photoshop with the edits that we've made. In Photoshop now, we are going to zoom in on the cord that comes out of the TV. Just to make the photo even more clean, I'm going to edit this cord out. There are so many tools that you can use to edit this cord. I'm just going to use the patch tool, and then I'm going to use the clone stem. And that's all we need to do to get rid of the cord. Now I'm going to do something fun with the TV screen. I thought it would be cool to have Pride and Prejudice also playing on the TV. I just got the book and the cup that are related to Pride and Prejudice. So this is how I actually do all those shots where I have something on my iPad or on my phone or on my laptop. So the way that I get these screenshots is I go into Google and I search for the name of the movie and I put screen caps. And yeah, a website like this will come up. Basically, someone has gone and used a fancy program to take screenshots of the entire movie. I'm going to save the image to my desktop because I'm going to edit the screen cap in Lightroom so that it matches with the photo. So I'll just apply Hedwig to it as well, and you might need to make a bit of an adjustment with the exposure. So let's bring that into Photoshop as well. Just gonna select that whole image and copy and paste it straight in. Now let's resize it to generally fit the screen. Go into edit and then transform and skew. Now you can drag the points to fit the screen. Something to note about putting these screenshots on screens is that generally movies don't actually go from all the corners, like it doesn't go from the top to the bottom. I'm using the sides of the TV to decide how to skew my image. Another thing we can notice is that her background is not in focus. You can see that her drawers and her door is out of focus. So we need to do the same thing with a screenshot, otherwise it's definitely not going to be realistic. I'm going into filter and then I'm going to use the Gaussian blur and just have that blurred out to match the rest of the photo so it looks realistic. And then we're done, and that's how I put my images onto screens. I hope you've enjoyed editing with me. My presets are now available on SheTheSpy.com, and thank you to everyone who submitted photos for this video. Sorry that I couldn't edit them all. If you like this video, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll do a part 2.